Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 22, the chapter name, The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Text 4. Text 4. Okay. Please repeat after me. Ato hi anyonyam atmanam. Ato hi anyonyam atmanam Brahma Shatram cha Rakshataha Brahma Kshatram cha Rakshataha Rakshati Samavyayo Devaha Rakshati Samavyayo Devaha Sa Yaha Sat Asat Atmakaha Saya Sad Asat Atmakaham Atohi Ananyoyam Atmanam. Sorry, it's Anyonyam. Atohi Anyonyam Atmanam Brahma Shatram cha Rakshataha Rakshati Samavayayo Deva Saya Sadasidatmakaha Atohi Anyonyam Atmanam Brahma Shatram cha Rakshataha Rakshati Samavyayo Devaha Saya Sad Asid Atmakam. Prabhuji's. Atohi Anyonyam Atmanam Brahma Shatram cha Rakshataha Rakshati Samavayo Deva Saya Sadasad Atmakaha. Tulab, how are you? Yeah. Just for the day.
My glasses aren't very good. I can't be very clear.
That's all right. Okay. Anybody else?
So the translation?
No, the verse.
Word, Sanskrit.
No, the verse. That's all right. Don't worry. Ataha.
Ataho.
Hence.
He.
Sorry. He certainly. Anyonyam. Each other. Atmanam. The self. Brahma. The Brahmanas. Shatram. The Shatriyas. Cha. And. Rakshataha. Protect. Rakshati. Sma. Protects. Avyayaha. Immutable. Devaha. The Lord. Saha. He. Yaha. Who. Sat Asat Atmakaha. The form of the cause and effect. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That is why the Brahmanas and Shatriyas protect each other as well as themselves. And in the Lord Himself, who is both the cause and effect and is yet immutable, protects them through each other. Please repeat after me. That is why the Brahmanas and Shatriyas protect each other as well as themselves. and the Lord Himself, who is both the cause and effect, and is yet immutable, protects them through each other. Purport: the entire social structure of Varna and Ashrama is a cooperative system meant to uplift all to the highest platform of spiritual realization. The Brahmanas are intended to be protected by the Shatriyas, and the Shatriyas also are intended to be enlightened by the Brahmanas. When the Brahmanas and Shatriyas cooperate nicely, the other subordinate divisions, the Vaishyas or the mercantile people, and the Shudras or the laborer class automatically flourish. The entire elaborate system of Vedic society was therefore based on the importance of the Brahmanas and Shatriyas. The Lord is the real protector, but He is unattached to the affairs of protection. He creates Brahmanas for the protection of the Shatriyas, and the Shatriyas for the protection of the Brahmanas. He remains aloof from all activities. Therefore, He is called Nirvikara, without activity. He has nothing to do. He is so great that He does not perform action personally, but His energies act. He is so great that He does not perform action personally, but His energies act. The Brahmanas and Shatriyas and anything that we see are different energies acting upon one another. Although individual souls are all different, the super self or super soul is the supreme personality of Godhead. Individually, oneself may differ from others in certain qualities and may engage in different activities, such as those of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or a Vaishya. But when there is complete cooperation among different individual souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul, Paramatma, being one in every individual soul, is pleased and gives them all protection. As stated before, the Brahmanas are produced from the mouth of the Lord, and the Kshatriyas are produced from the chest or arms of the Lord. If the different caste or social sections, although apparently differently occupied in different activities, nevertheless act in full cooperation, then the Lord is pleased. This is the idea of the institution of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. If the members of different Ashramas and Varnas cooperate fully in Krishna consciousness, then society is well protected by the Lord without doubt. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Lord is the proprietor of all different bodies. The individual soul is the proprietor of his individual body, but the Lord clearly states, "My dear Bharata, you must know that I am also Kshetrajna." Kshetrajna means the knower or proprietor of the body. The individual soul is the proprietor of the individual body, but the super soul, the personality of God, Krishna, is the proprietor of all bodies everywhere. He is the proprietor not only of human bodies, but of the birds, beasts, and other entities, not only on this planet, but on other planets as also. He is the supreme proprietor. Therefore, he does not become divided by protecting the different individual souls. He remains one and the same. That the sun appears on top of everyone's head when at the meridian does not imply that the sun becomes divided. One man thinks that the sun is on his head only, whereas 5,000 miles away, another man is thinking that the sun is only on his head. Similarly, the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead, is one, but he appears to individually oversee each individual soul. This does not mean that the individual soul and the super soul are one. They are one in quality as spirit soul, but the individual soul and super soul are different. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shivadapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashyat Teshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivazadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Tavai vasmi, na jivami, tavai vinai, iti vigya devitvam, nayamam charanantikam. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this Saturday morning's Bhagavatam class. Good to see some old friends showing up after a long time. It's been?
I don't know how long you're turning up.
It's been a couple of years, I would say, or maybe.
Have you been doing this every Saturday?
No, I'm saying I haven't seen you for 2-3 years now. Yeah. All right. Where are we? The entire social structure of Varna and Ashrama is a cooperative system. Okay. When we read, if you read Srila Prabhupada books, and even if you hear his lectures, there are few topics Prabhupada brings it up every opportunity he gets. If you're reading something, even if the verse or the topic he is talking have slight touch to these topics, he immediately dives into it and explains it or goes into the depth of it. One of the things is chanting the holy name, Shravana Kirtanam, reading and chanting or hearing. The next one is Varnashram, about the Varnashram Dharma. Every opportunity he gets, he immediately goes into Varnashram. And then from Varnashram, he will jump into farm communities protecting the cows. And the third thing he also talks about a lot is how do I put it politely? Not the independence of women, or the role of women, that how women should not be independent. So every opportunity he gets, he talks about this, he dives into it. Even though, say, book distribution is a major thing, or it become a major thing, but when you read, yes, he speaks about book distribution now and then, but the topics I mentioned, 3 of them, a few others, but these topics, as soon as he gets an opportunity, he dives into it. The reason behind is, these topics will sustain a person in Krishna consciousness. Hearing and chanting, being in a Varnashram, farm-based society, and third, the women acting according to the Shastric injunctions. So these are the things which will maintain an individual comfortably in devotional service. So here, this verse talks about Varnashram. So Varnashram means the 4 social and four social and economic orders, which is Brahmanas, Shatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Brahmanas are the educated society. The Shatriyas are the protective class or the administrative class. The Vaishyas are the mercantile society, and the Shudras are the laborer class. And similarly, the spiritual ashrams are brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Brahmacharya, student life; grahastha, married life; vanaprastha life, semi-retired; and sannyas, total renunciation, focusing on preaching. So this is the basics of Varnashram, which we all know. For this Varnashram to work effectively, the top 2 classes of the Varnas, which are the Brahmanas and the Shatriyas, need to maintain their standards well. As soon as if any one of these Varnas start slacking or diluting their standard, immediately the system collapses. This system is not a man-made system. This system is instituted by Krishna himself. Chapter 4, text 13, Chaturvanyam maya shishtam gunakarma vibhagacha tasya kartaram apimam vidhi kartaram avyayam. So this verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 14, is almost synonym to the verse we are reading. The verse what Krishna speaks and what Manu speaks, it's synonym. It's pretty much the same thing. Both of them are speaking. So here Manu is addressing Kardama. The importance of the Brahmanas, and Manu being a Kshatriya himself, his dependence on Brahmanas. So that's what Manu is focusing on. So who are these Brahmanas? What constitute a Brahmana? Generally in India, the current status, or it's been for a while, is a Brahmana is somebody who is born in a Brahmin family. That's what generally people think. Or he wears the pavitra, the sacred thread, then he's a Brahmana. That's what people identify as. But according to Shastra, birth is not a qualification for someone to become a Brahmana. It's, as the verse goes, 4:14, it's the guna and karma. the mode in which an individual is situated, and the karma, the activity, what the individual performs. That defines what varna an individual belongs to. So that applies to Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So if any individual is fixed or situated on the guna and karma. Guna means the mode of goodness for a Brahmana. If an individual is placed on mode of goodness, and the activities, the predominant activities he performs are the activities of a Brahmana, then he must be considered a Brahmana. Definitely not just by birth. Just because I'm born a Brahmana doesn't automatically give you the authority to become a Brahmana. What it gives you is to become a Dvija Bandhu. But one has to develop those qualities. And these qualities, we will discuss, unless one develops these qualities, a person is not considered a Brahmana. So what are these qualities which makes up a Brahmana? And why Brahmana are very important. The activities, the qualities of a Brahmana are described in Bhagavad Gita 1840. 1840, if I remember right. Shama, Dhana, Pratishta, Arjava, Brahma Karma. Let's look it up. Sama 40. Oh, it's not 40. Sorry, it's 42. I said 40. Sama damas tapat saucham shantir arjavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Okay. Sama means peaceful. To be equiposed, peace. Krishna repeats about sama quite a few times in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he keeps repeating it in the rest of the Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna, you have to be sama, or you have to be equiposed. So he starts with matra sparshasta kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukada agama paina nistyas tam titikshva vibharata. Like when the weather changes from summer to winter, one should not be disturbed. Similarly, when matra sparshasta, when the sense objects changes, one should not be disturbed. And then the very next verse, yamye vivayanti ete purusha purusha shabha sama sukha dukha dhiram so amrtatvaya kalpate. Again, sama, dukkha or sukha, when it is you're happy, or when a situation which gives you happiness, or a situation gives you sadness, one has to be in sama. And again, a few verses later, he again says, sukham dukham sama kritva labo labo jaya jayo. It's all just in second chapter. He's repeating it again and again. In that he says, when you're happy, when circumstances for happiness or circumstances for sadness comes to you, sama kritva, you have to remain equiposed, sama. Even during labo laba, when there's profit, or laba means profit, alaba means loss. When there's profit or loss, jaya or jaya. When there's victory or defeat, you have to remain equiposed. So this is one of the qualities, prime qualities, is expected of a Brahmanical person to be equiposed in any situation. And the next one is Dhamma. Where did I lose the verse? 42. Yeah. Dhamma means self-control. One of the qualities of the Brahmana is self-control. He controls what he speaks. He controls his tongue. He doesn't give out the words easily, because a Brahmana, whatever a Brahmana says, will come true. So he has to be very much in self-control. We can see in the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj and Shringi. The Shringi is amateur Brahmana. He's just starting up his Brahmanical training. And he loses temper and curses Parikshit Maharaj. And cursing Parikshit Maharaj, makes Kali Yuga to progress easily. So a Brahmana has to be self-controlled. What he thinks, so whatever he thinks naturally manifests, whatever one person thinks naturally manifests, in his speech. So he has to keep his mind under control, his speech under control, his senses under control. So this is expected of a Brahmana. And tapa, a Brahmana performs austerity. Austerity is a jewel of a Brahmana. It's considered an ornament of a Brahmana. You don't see Brahmanas wearing expensive jewels. Usually Shatriyas and Vaishyas wear expensive jewels and gemstones and ornaments. But Brahmanas, abharana, or the jewel of a Brahmana, is tapasya, or austerity. Brahmanas voluntarily perform austerity. They do it to showcase that the material enjoyment is just temporary, and there's no need for one to be reliant on those material sense enjoyment. So they naturally, voluntarily perform tapasya. Saucham, Brahmanas are also very clean both internally and externally. Internally they remain clean by chanting Krishna's name constantly and by performing various devotional activities. And externally they are clean by taking shower. A Brahmana is expected to take shower at least 2 or 3 times a day. Do I have a pen? No, I don't. That's all right. So the Brahmanas are expected to take shower at least 2 times, or in summer 3 times a day. So a Brahmana is always showering. In my house, the towel is always wet. I'm always in the shower. Spend more time in the shower. So it's the nature of a Brahmana. You take shower at least minimum 2 times a day. Nowadays, people don't take shower at all. They consider themselves Brahmanas, and they eat without even taking shower. It's just complete asaucham, dirty. This includes to men, women, everyone. At least 2 showers a day. Saucham, shanti. Again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhavasya shanti ashanti kuta sukham, 2nd chapter. If there is no peace, shanti means peace. If there is no peace, what to speak of happiness? There is no possibility for happiness unless there is peace. So a Brahmana, being situated in mode of goodness, is always peaceful. Arjavam means honesty. The Brahmana speaks only the truth. What is truth? The truth is, this material world is temporary. That's a real truth. The material world is temporary. The body we live in is temporary. We are not this body. We are spirit souls. And our primary duty is to engage in devotional service. That is the absolute truth. Every other truth is hinged on that absolute truth. So a Brahmana is honest in the sense he is always reminding everybody the reality of everybody's situation, their situation, that they are stuck in a temporary situation in a temporary body, and they are not engaging in the activity of the soul, which they actually are, which is devotional service. So that's a Brahmana. So he's always honest. He is not just telling things to make you feel good. He's not here to make you feel good so that you can keep going, enjoying your sense gratification and digging your path to hell. No, the Brahmana's duty is to just tell as it is. So, Prabhupada, you can see, that's why he wrote the book as it is. He didn't say a book to make you feel happy all the time. No, he didn't say that. He says the book which is as it is, honesty, honest representation of the scriptures. So that's a quality of a Brahmana. Evacha and Jnanam, Vijnanam. So he is also very learned. He knows, he has the knowledge. He's very learned in scriptures, in various arts. And not only he is learned in various arts, he also knows the application. So there's two things. There's knowledge and there's application of that knowledge. One, if one has only the knowledge, that's just theory. Theory doesn't help. The application, the practical application. So Brahmana is knowledgeable, and also he knows the application aspect of that knowledge. Say, one might instruct you, oh, you're not this body, you're spirit, soul. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, I'm not this body, I'm spirit, so what does it mean? So that's theory, and there is application, how to realize that, how to act on that platform. So that's Vijnana. That's Vijnana Sahitam. So Brahmana not only knows the truth, but he also knows how that truth can be practiced. Okay? Otherwise you just know stuff and okay. You have a car and you know that the car can travel 200 kilometers an hour, but if you don't know how to drive the car, knowing that you can drive 200 kilometers an hour is a useless knowledge. So here, I'm giving a mundane example. Here, the Brahmanas knows that the car can travel 200 kilometers and also knows how to drive it 200 kilometers an hour. Mundane example. So that's Vijnana and Jnana. So Brahmana is expert in both Vijnana and Jnana. And Astikyam, religious. He is always religious. He never instructs or practices something which is not religious. Religious means, there's two ways of looking at it. One is, religious means one who acts on the instructions of Krishna, or so that a living entity can approach Krishna. That's the religiosity of the soul. And there's also religiosity of the body, which is acting according to the Varna and Ashrama of the society. So a Brahmana never instructs something which is irreligious. A Brahmana will never teach you, shouldn't teach you, make money in this unscrupulous way by cheating others or doing this and doing that. If Brahmana instructs anything, even material or spiritual, he does it on the platform of religiosity. And Brahma karma, duty, svabha, born of his own nature. Okay, tolerance, honor, wisdom, and religiousness. Okay, so these are the qualities, according to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself. These are some of the prime qualities of a Brahmana. There is also other qualities described. Yajan, yajan, patan, patan. Always reading and teaching. Patan, patan, reading and teaching. Yajan, yajan, taking things in, accepting charity and giving in charity. So there are other qualities also. So these are the qualities which makes a Brahmana, or at least a student of a Brahmana, or a person trying to be a Brahmana. If these qualities are not present, if these qualities are not aspired, a person just by the birth claiming to be a Brahmana is not a Brahmana. He's just an imposter. So the whole concept of Brahmana by birth has to be rejected. So what is the dependency of the Brahmana and Shatriyas. In Purusha Sukta, it says, Brahmano syad mukhamasit, bahu rajanya kritaha, uru tadyas vaishyaha, padyagam shudro ajayata. The Brahmanas come from mukham, the face of the Lord. And the Shatriyas come from the arms of the Lord. So in the previous verse, you can see Manu is saying that the Shatriyas are created by the Lord who has 1,000 legs to protect, created the Shatriyas to protect the Brahmanas. So, by protecting, why protect the Brahmanas? So Krishna himself, creates the Shatriyas from his arms so that they can protect the Brahmanas. Why? There are many reasons. I will touch a couple of them. As we have a prayer for Krishna, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Ko Brahmane Hidaya Cha, Jagat Hidaya, Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Krishna is famously addressed as somebody who is protector of Brahmanas and cows. Jagat Hidaya, others also he protects, but Hidaya means protector. But it's made it clear that Krishna protects the Brahmanas and cows. Because by protecting the Brahmanas and cows, the society works, or society exists based on higher intelligence. Based on higher intelligence. So the Brahmanas and cows help the society to attain the higher intelligence. When a society works with higher intelligence, naturally it will become a devotional society, a peaceful society, and a happy society. Krishna is the Supreme Father, so he doesn't want the living entities, his children, to be miserable, unhappy. He wants them to be happy, even in this material world. Even though it is not a place of happiness, he still wants us to be in a state of happiness, some kind of self-content position. To help with that, he has the Brahminical culture, or the true Brahmanas, and cows. So the Brahmanas give instruction, good instruction, good counsel to the Shatriyas. And with that good counsel, the Shatriyas rule the world. You have to note, the Shatriyas are in mode of passion. They are contaminated with a bit of passion. So the passion has a tendency to drag you down. The passion has a tendency to drag you down. So the Brahmana prevents the Kshatriya from getting dragged down, by being carried away. Because he's powerful. Once you're powerful, the natural tendency of a powerful man is to control others. What they say, power corrupts, and more power corrupts more. Absolutely. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing.
Power corrupts, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. It means when you have power, it corrupts, and you have more power, it corrupts. The corruption is more. So the Kshatriyas, the ruling class, contaminated by passion, is dealing with having power. Having power. And the power has a tendency to corrupt. Once you're corrupted, then you start doing all kind of nonsense. So the Brahmanas protect the Kshatriya class from taking the path to degradation. When the ruling class gets degraded, the Vaishyas can easily bribe the ruling class and engage in all unscrupulous way of making money. exploiting people, taking advantage, exploiting the nature, which we see. So the Vaishyas take advantage of a corrupted king, bribes him or takes them under their control, and the Shudras become unprotected. And when the Shudras become unprotected, they rebel, and then you end up having a Shudra-based government, which is democracy, which is a complete nonsense run by rascals, less intelligent men. So the whole infrastructure collapses just because the Brahmanas are not preventing the Shatriyas from degradation. On the flip side, the Brahmanas, to remain in the position what they are, to be unattached, to be independent, they remain a very peaceful, very simple life. It means they are not making an effort to make money. They are not. They don't have an economic medium to survive. So their the only medium they can survive is Shatriyas protecting them. And also, Brahmanas are naturally very peaceful, in the sense not provoked. So very timid. Is that the word? Very calm and timid. I wouldn't say weak, but so naturally they're not in the business of protecting themselves, in the sense against wild animals or against people, thieves and rascals. They're not. They are busy performing very simple mode of goodness people. So they can be easily attacked by unwanted elements in the society. So it's a job of the Kshatriya to make sure the Brahmana is fed, looked after, so that he can perform his duty of reading and practicing devotional service and educating the society. If he is in a desperation of how to feed his belly and not spending time reading and chanting, then the Brahmana degrades. He gives up his duty and goes and does something else. And when a Brahmana degrades, there's nobody to instruct the Kshatriya. So the Kshatriya degrades, and when the Kshatriya degrades, the Vaishya degrade, and when Vaishya degrades, the Shudras. And they rise up, Shudra and women rise up. And that happens, society becomes Varnashankara. Adharma vivavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya. The women gets polluted, and adharma becomes prevalent, and the society is full of Varnashankaras, unwanted issues, unwanted children, and the society is in complete chaos. So that's why the symbiosis between a Brahmana and a Kshatriya is very important. As long as this symbiosis is maintained, automatically the Vaishyas do what they need to do. Instead of growing cash crops and opening pubs and slaughtering animals, they grow grains, they look after cows, they produce milk, they grow fresh vegetables. So they do what a Vaishya is supposed to do. Because otherwise they know the king is going to come down on them. So the whole system works in synergy. It becomes symbiotic when there's a good relationship between a Brahmana and a Kshatriya. How are we going with the time? Okay. So that's about Varnashram. Prabhupada also, the verse, and the verse also goes that Krishna. So even though superficially the Brahmana is protecting the Kshatriya and the Kshatriya is protecting the Brahmana. Manu says it's actually the Lord who is protecting both of them from behind, because he is the supreme protector. Even though we might think, what is that? I forgot Bhagavad Gita. Verse where it says, the kartaham iti manyate. The living entities think they are the doer, but the actual doer is the Lord in the background. And so it's actually Krishna is the doer. He's doing it from the background. He is the one who is the real Rakshat. He is a Rakshak. He is the one who is really protecting through his various energies. The predominant energy is the three modes of material nature, which is the material nature, Durga herself. And through the three modes of material nature, through goodness, he protects the Brahmanas. Through passion and a mixture of goodness, he protects the Shatriyas. And through the mixture of passion, goodness, and a little bit of ignorance, the Vaishyas, and ignorance and passion, the Shudras. So through these energies, Krishna protects. And since he is protecting through his agencies, he remains aloof. Janmadasya tonvayat itaratas chartesu abhinya swarat. He is independent, swarat. He doesn't get involved in the day-to-day running of the affairs. He sets up the system, he invests his energy, and the energies kick in, and the energies maintain it. And when the system collapses, he or his representatives come and re-establish the system. So Narada Muni, in 5th canto, Shravana Muni, he tells to Muni, I can't remember his name, that even the Varnashram system is instigated by the God himself, Krishna himself, and all the demigods want to take birth in Bharatavarsha, the land which, the modern day India, Bharatavarsha, because, not just because it has all the holy rivers flowing, all the spiritual places are there, but the Varnashram system is there. The Varnashram system is practiced. Since it is practiced, even the demigods want to take birth. So he goes on by saying that this system, even if it gets derailed, can be very quickly reinstated. System can be very quickly reinstated. The society what we are living in at the moment, even within and outside, there is no Varnashram. The Varnashram aspect is not being practiced. So there's naturally chaos internally and externally, within our society and outside of the society. So Prabhupada wanted Varnashram to be re-established within our society. He made it as one of his major thing to do, or one of his major goals, is to re-establish Varnashram. To the very extent, even his last teaching on his deathbed, we are approaching Prabhupada's disappearance day in 5 days' time, I think. 3, 4, 5 days' time, yeah. On the day on his deathbed, Prabhupada talks about establishing Varnashram, the importance of having Varnashram. By having this Varnashram, people can actually be peaceful and practice devotional service. So you can see how important it is. Okay, where are we going with the time? Okay, 10 minutes, okay. And the last paragraph, Prabhupada talks about the Kshetrajna, Jiva Kshetrajna, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, or Paramatma. So, we spirit soul have this body, and we have the information about this body. and we have information only about this body. But we don't know what the other living entities, I don't know what other living entities are thinking or desiring or willing, because it's a separate body and there's a separate spirit soul in it. So there's immediately duality. So there's no room for oneness or Mayavad philosophy or impersonalism, because there's immediately duality here. Because me as a spirit soul only knows information about this, my body, and I don't know what Durlabha is thinking. But Krishna, as his expansionist Paramatma, is situated in my body, in Durlabha's body, in everyone's body. And he is aware what I'm thinking and what is Durlabha thinking, what is other living entities thinking and willing or acting. So here, the Paramatma is a Kshetrajna. He knows more than the Jivatma about Jivatma himself, about the body the Jivatma is in. And he also knows, because he is present in every living entity, not just human beings, but also birds, bees, trees. He is present in every living entities. He knows what's happening within everyone. Within everyone. And why Prabhupada is talking about that here is, since he knows everyone and he is present in everyone, he is pleased when everyone cooperates on the platform of Varnashram. The Shatriyas are not envious of Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are not envious of Shatriyas or the Vaishyas or Sudras. They act according to their own duty and they are cooperating peacefully. And Krishna knows that because he is present in everyone's heart. So his expectation is that we all the Varnas, cooperate peacefully. So that's why Varnashram Charvita, Purushena Parapuman, Varnashram Charvita, Purushena Parapuman, Vishnu Aradate Pumsam, Nainat Tattoshana Karanat. So Vishnu is happy in the heart as Paramatma when he knows that the living entities are working according to the rules and regulations of Varnashram and peacefully cooperating with each other. So it says Krishna is happy, or Vishnu is happy being in everyone's heart. Tattoshana Karanat. He's happy that his system is practiced. And there's no envy between the Varnas and Ashramas. So that's why Prabhupada kind of brings it to the Paramatma, and being present, knows if the system is nicely followed and everybody is happy, he is also happy. So one can also worship the Lord by practicing Varnashram system in the society. So yes, the system is great. How do we implement it? Okay, we saw about jnana and vijnana, knowledge and application. So Prabhupada talks about Varnashram, the importance of Varnashram. We know the theory, but how to implement. We definitely know there's no Varnashram. How to implement? Well, again, Prabhupada mercifully gives us the indication. He says, through farm communities. By establishing self-sufficient farm communities, the Varnashram system will be revived. So that's a practical application of what Prabhupada is guiding us, how the theory of Varnashram, how wonderful it is, can be actually implemented through farm communities. The farm communities means it's not like I buy a big block of land, have some cows, not look after the cows, put some deities, show the deities, and ask for money and eat and sleep nicely. No, that's not the farm communities Prabhupada is talking about. He's talking about self-sufficient farm communities where the cows are looked after and the basic requirements, which is food, is produced. The grains, fresh vegetables are produced, and the produced from the cows, which is milk, and produced from the land is offered. So we need to offer, so we need deities to offer, and for the community members to also perform devotional service. So then deity comes in. So that's a model Prabhupada recommended or wanted to institute because he didn't have time, so he expected the future generations to implement. He didn't want it to be the next generation or in 5 generations later. He wanted immediate. He even said in his last years, or last year of his life, that if he has any time left, he wants to go to Gita Nagari, which is a big farm community in Philadelphia. He wants to sit there. I will sit here and show you how to establish Varnashram. So he was not just talking for the sake of talking. He was very keen, and he was really wanted to see it. He said, if I just have a little more time left, I will do it. Unfortunately, he passed away. He withdrew his pastimes. But definitely he left us that mission to establish Varnashram. And this Varnashram system is not there to exploit others. As I mentioned, it's not based on exploitation of anybody. It is the only medium where a person can perform devotional service peacefully. It gives you that platform. So Varnashram becomes a corollary for devotional service. So corollary, like a appendix, like, if you have a bicycle, you have 2 wheels. The first wheel is devotional service, the second wheel is Varnashram. So without that, it becomes a unicycle.
They work in tandem.
Yeah, tandem. Yeah, if you take the Varnashram aspect, you're riding a unicycle, which is very hard to ride. So devotional service, without the Varnashram, is it like a unicycle? Is it unicycle?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's one wheel cycle, which is there, and people still drive it, but it is not.
Stable.
It's not stable. It can collapse any time. And even within our society, we've seen, in limited 40, 50, 60 years after Prabhupada left, in various parts of the world, the movement has completely collapsed. Thousands and thousands of devotees lost faith because they didn't have the platform of Varnashram to fall back. They were all riding unicycle. So that's the importance of Varnashram. On that note, I will finish here. Any questions, comments, corrections? Please fire away.
That's why I should have a pen.
What?
My memory, I have questions and then I forget by the end, so I'll play some.
That's all right. You have my number. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Shri Prabhupada ki. Nitai Go Premanande. Shri Prabhupada ki. Jai Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.